Breaking into the Mini Cooper 2001. This is an SE, two-door, etc. I'm gonna put a trailer receiver on and thought I'd give a whirl at describing some of the things I come up against. Number one, removing trim rings around the lights. Be careful not to pull too much on any one side because they might snap like mine did a little bit. No problem. Two, cedar shims are really helpful for bracing the upper section. As you unclip it, stick cedar shims in around it, and that'll help you use both hands to keep removing it. Also, pull outwards a little bit and unclip. Don't just pry away. When it gets tighter, try to push it away a little bit with a cedar shim and then duct tape on a putty knife. I don't know. Second problem, when the light is in, you get all three screws out, get the wire harness off, and then reach in on the bottom sides right here. This clips into the body panel on either side, and the inner one, very hard to reach. Outer one was easy. Find the outer one, figure out where it is, go across the inside, use a cedar shim to unclip it first, and then clip the outside one. Unclip the outside one because it's easier. I'll be back. Okay, now that I can see down inside, I understand what the two clips on this panel here, joining these two panels rather. Next time I'll probably go in first with a screwdriver. There's two slots under here, one here, one here. I think just get it in there and push the tab tooth upward and then pry it down like that. It should come apart, and then these ones will likely be easier to remove. After that, gloves here to protect the paint. Past this joint right here, above that, there's a little red clip point. You can see the inside is the white one there. But you can see on the back side of here, maybe you can see, that is made to slide on and off. You slide it backwards and forward to on, but I don't really want to deal with that whole piece, so we'll see what happens. But I wish I hadn't pulled that off. Okay, bumper off, bumper cover off, metal actual bumper off. So basically I was able to align the receiver with the bolts on either side and eyeball it and notch out a little bit right there on either side, which has allowed me to set the top on the bolts so that I can now make marks on this plastic, which is mostly going to come off altogether, but we'll see what happens. On the SE, this car has a different sort of like plastic panel setup than the gas engine car, probably because the muffler is not down here, blah blah blah. Maybe they should put a spare tire in there, that would be cool. But here we are. So I'm gonna have to notch out this a little bit, no big deal. I'm gonna figure out approximately how far back this is gonna travel when it's allowed to recess, and then just cut along the lines. I'd recommend maybe a multi-tool rather than the little rotary tool as shown on the Hitch website, YouTube channel. Secondarily, this guy is an undercoating sprayer. It has some tubes that go on the front if you want, but bought that on eBay. Just while I have things off, I like to spray some good undercoating grease type material, down in there on all the bolts, and once the car's up like I have it now, I can reach suspension parts, and nuts and bolts are the main things that I like to touch up with grease down in the bottom of this type of cavity where water and junk may collect over time, etc. So it's just good to have something around. You can buy this in cans. PFC I think is a good product, but yes, that people do links. Maybe I'll put a link in here. First video, huzzah. So we're reinstalling the bumper cover. Everything's in. I will, after it's locked in, I'll trim this to be symmetrical, and I may need to trim some clearance space for the safety hooks, clipping on and off. but otherwise it fits on there pretty well. On this model, I removed one of these little red clips that I mentioned earlier. It has, how do I focus? It has sort of tabs, but they don't really push in. They're just made to deform and then lock in place once they're plugged in. So I reached through the inside, used a pair of pliers to kind of squish those ridges down and push it outwards while pulling from the outside. And now my plan is to slot that back in to this little slot and then push it into the side of the car instead of trying to slide this slot over the red clip. And we'll return once we're done. All right, we are pretty much finished with the installation of the receiver, etc. That's all in. The bumper cover's all locked down, relatively clean. Not quite symmetrical still. That's annoying, but we'll trim it once more. This took me about a couple of hours. I backed the car up onto ramps. It's really helpful. Grease. This guy for taking the real bumper off. Putting it back on 18mm socket set, of course. Torx bits, drivers for that. Right angle bit, really helpful. Sharpie. We have a 10mm 3/8 for the driver, and a 8mm to put on the right angle for some of the parts coming out of there. A range of pliers and prying tools needed, apparently. A layout tool, and a headlamp. You want a headlamp at some points here. So I'm probably going to make a video on checking out the installation of the wiring harness, and I'll try to attach that to this one, and we'll look forward to having a trailer on the tiny electric Mini Cooper go-kart. Alright, good day.